Hello again, everyone. My name is Kelly Covert, and welcome to another Symhoria Community Spotlight. Today I have Marissa Rice, who is the Director of Youth and Family Services at the Q Center, and I'm so excited to have all of you get to know what the Q Center is all about. So Marissa, why don't you tell us what the Q Center is and the role that you play in our community?
Okay, so the Q Center is a youth center for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, gender nonconforming, and all of the other letters that we love to come and just gather, receive support, things like that, just for all those young people and then their families as well. So we started offering support groups in 1998 for LGBTQ youth, and we're still here today. So I'm really excited to be here. I've been with the agency since 1999, so a very long time, and have always worked in our youth and family services. And, you know, I've been lucky enough to have this role as the director of the department for the last 10 years. So I love it.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the services that you provide to these young people?
Sure. So we have a lot of different services that we do. Probably the biggest is our different support groups. So, of course, during COVID, operations for everyone are a little bit different. We're doing our groups virtually. But under normal circumstances, we offer a lot of different groups. We kind of break kids up by age. So we have a group for our 5 to 12-year-olds, which we call Q Kids. And then we have a group for 13 to 17-year-olds, which is just our LGBTQ youth group. And then we have 18 to 24, which we call our stepping out, because it's like, hey, you're an adult now, kind of stepping out into the world. And then we also offer support group just for transgender and gender nonconforming young people as well. So, and in addition to that, we do support groups for parents. So parents and caregivers or whomever the family members are, because how we make up our families is very personal. So we just want to make sure that they have supports as well so that they can support the kids in their life and in their family. We also offer case management services to help young people and families access care, or if they need advocacy in schools or anything like that. Free legal services we can connect them to for name and gender marker changes for our trans youth and young adults and things. We have a housing program. So for 18 to 24-year-old LGBTQ youth, we offer rental assistance for up to 2 years.
Wow.
And we also offer, it's really a very transition age to just kind of make sure, help them get on their own. So we can offer that financial support for 2 years, as well as case management and help with employment, education, things like that. Kind of get them on a little bit better path.
That is so fantastic. And I think what a wonderful resource we have right in Onondaga County, right in Syracuse. And what's the range of your service in terms of geography?
We actually service 9 counties out throughout central New York. So, we're here in Syracuse. We go all the way out to Herkimer County in the Mohawk Valley, and then all the way up to the Canadian border up north. We take care of St. Lawrence County as well. So St. Lawrence, Jefferson, Lewis, Madison, Herkimer, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga.
Wonderful. That is so great. And I think probably even back to when you started in 1999, what a difference between then and now, just in terms of how much support we can be giving to people who really need it.
Yes, it's a totally different world than it was 20 years ago. We still have a long way to go.
We do.
But things are really very different, really very different. So
do you have any success stories that you would feel comfortable sharing?
Sure. Absolutely. So I'm thinking, one story I always think of, this one young person, because again, I've been there a long time, and she's been with us about 10 years. So we first met her when she was 13 and had been kicked out of her home. And she never found a permanent place to stay, ever, throughout her teen years. School was extremely difficult, got through 8th grade, was never able to be successful without a place to stay, in school after that. And unfortunately, this young woman ended up being sex trafficked. She's a young transgender woman. And she was sex trafficked throughout the state, and we received a call from her. This was probably 4 or 5 years ago. She was in New York City and just desperate and said, I just found out I have HIV and I want to come home. And you're the only place I know. You're the only home I ever had. And it kind of breaks my heart to think that kids live that way, but I'm also so proud of my staff that we can be that support for these young people. So we were able to get her back here and link her into care. get her viral load down to undetectable. So she's living a very happy life. She's now enrolled in our rapid rehousing program. She went through our peer program, and she became a peer and a volunteer for our agency and a mentor for other young people. So I think of this young woman who at 13, and I'm a mom, you know, I get it. My kids are a little older than 13, but they were there. And I think how resilient she is, you know, and I look at the qualities in her, and I think it's programs like this and other programs working with young people that is the success. This young woman being able to be herself and grow, even though these awful things happen to her, and she's strong and she's a role model for everyone else. And I just love her, and I love that we were there for her. And I feel like that's what I hope all young people that come to us can achieve, that whatever, if it's just a little they need from us or a lot, I hope we can get them there.
Mm-hmm. So, I literally have goosebumps with you telling me that story, and I didn't bring my tissues.
Yeah. I know it gets everybody.
Yeah, but what amazing work you are doing right here where we live. And, you know, one of the things that we feel is really important at Symphoria is advocacy. We want people to understand what our mission is and what our objectives are, which are to inspire and to engage through music. So I'm curious to know, what do you want people to most know about the Q Center?
I think I want people to know that we're here as a support. But one thing I think it's really important we work with young people about, we want to empower them, and we want them to love themselves, not in spite of who they are, but because of who they are. And to know that the reason that these young people are struggling has almost nothing to do with them. It has to do with all of us in society and how we treat them. And that is the most important thing, you know. My goal would be that we're just here as a fun place that people stop in, not because they need us to advocate for them to be able to stay in the military because they're transgender, or they're in the military and their child is transgender and they can't access treatment for them anymore. You know, these things are still happening to people. Employment discrimination, shelters. Like, we just want to create a world where that doesn't have to happen. We happen to be focusing on the LGBTQ community, but we believe in equality for all, every single person. You know, I think it would be wrong to not mention the Black Lives Matter moment at this point, because so many of our LGBTQ young people that are Black and brown have had this double thing coming against them their whole lives, and the adults that have lived so much longer. And so we want to know that that's a really important piece to us, and has been. And again, this young woman I talked about, she actually started our Youth of Color support group because she is the one that had to educate us and say, we need a special place for ourselves where you as white people aren't always welcome. And that was fine to hear, and we were able to do it, you know. So I'm sorry, I'm not trying to do a platform, but just really want to mention that that's really important. And I think that plays into so much of our advocacy work, you know, for all of us.
100%. 100%. And, you know, my thought is, as those of you who are watching hear about the Q Center, maybe for the first time, you can think about the people in your lives who need to know about this. You know, maybe you have a friend or a son or a nephew or a niece or whatever, someone who could really use these services, because it's not just for school age kids either, right? So what you're doing is so powerful. Marissa, thank you so much. We will be sure to put the website for the Q Center right in the Facebook post. Is there anything else, any other way people can get involved in the Q Center, or anything else where they can find out more?
Yeah, absolutely. You can call our office at any time, 315-475-2430, or you can even email us, and our email is qcentercny@acrhealth.org. You can get any kind of information right from there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And for all of you watching, please share and let the people in your lives know about this wonderful resource we have in CNY, in the Q Center, and such amazing work. Thanks, everyone, and have a great week.